Good evening. People become rather frantic about the state of their lives. I'm no stranger to this myself. Many of us find ourselves desperate to see better days, better times, to opt out of the many things that prohibit us from achieving this. More than anything, people seek to eliminate the need of a job, while also attaining the best living circumstances possible for themselves. In this pursuit, grifting has become an industry, and, from what I've heard, it's the industry of choice of today's youth. Back in the 2000s, you would have been chased and shamed off of the internet for even suggesting that a 3-minute video or blog post had any monetary value, let alone that you, the creator and producer of these things, just the same as any of us, should be given anything special. The only people who were so expectant and got away with it were some boomer remnants of Internet 1.0, although many of them at least bothered to produce software and offer services. Things were very communal back then. A YouTube video with quadruple-digit views was considered to be viral content, and reaching a quintuple view count was unbelievable to us. I remember pausing in disbelief any time I came across one with 10,000 views, let alone 11 or 12,000. Similar to the early days of radio, we were all tied together. We all watched and even spoke and collaborated with the same people. We all knew the most viewed video on the site. We all, or at least triple-digiters, knew how to Triforce and program a MySpace page. We all went to the same major forums and platforms, and most of us splintered off into thousands of different directions from there by creating our own niche ones for friends and distinct topics. This is all gone now, as if none of it even happened. Today, you will instead be mocked and shamed for daring to suggest that regurgitating, or even outright stealing, the thoughts of others isn't somehow worth the income of a full-time job. You even see the same people that decry censorship and the lack of community require a paid subscription to so much as comment under what they produce. People chose to sell out one of the few things that would have actually made life more tolerable and worth living in favor of a lifestyle that guarantees its impossibility. It's madness, or, as the kids say, clown world. As much as one may be tempted to think this is a problem unique to the internet, it's actually gone on for a very long time. Even prior to the 2020s, it was known that doctors would grift excessive, needless, and even dangerous medications and procedures in order to make a greater profit. There have even been instances of legal action being taken against some who grifted a bit too hard on the behalf of drug companies. It's also been known for quite some time that corporations base their business models on selling extravagant and sometimes outright fraudulent products. A very common business tactic is to lie with the truth, such as by selling a monitor with a high refresh rate and a coffee-making setup with precise accuracy, when most people will be more than content with something less than half the specifications and price. My focus here isn't regarding the acts themselves, but what they produce. What is money, other than the negation of much of life? No longer do you need to learn how to do something yourself, or settle for something that barely functions. You can instead merely pay for what you desire to simply materialize. To be able to attain this magical power without exerting a particularly large amount of effort, or even need to do anything real at all, makes it all that much better, negating the need to actually be good at something, and to struggle or toil at it. Of course, these things are still vital foundational ingredients to the output. Someone, after all, must possess some semblance of the required skills, and must exert a form of effort in order to permit the magical power of money to be effective. The immense cost of creating a time of decadence is also required, acting as a form of inheritance that those alive now whittle away, those who once were having already paid the price of that luxury. Money is only one of the many ways in which one can negate life. What is travel and expatriatism, other than the negation of needing to be ingrained into a cluster of people, instead opting to forever be on the outer parameters of it? To always be that different, novel, other, and for others to need to excuse your idiosyncrasies, assuming they can even detect them, instead of you needing to defend these tendencies and traits against a populace that may criticize or oppose them. 2. Although this is less common these days, essentially be a deity to those who value or fuck the different. Having had some experience with this myself, I know just how absurd and grand it feels to be adored and desired for simply existing as this thing others aren't quite accustomed to, but have immense curiosity of. The good life is the one that isn't. The closer one is to the mechanisms of life, the more one finds themselves to be restrained and to suffer. All of life, in some form, is the desperate struggle to make others live, while you get to taste a lack of existence. The less one is directly involved with the mechanisms of this world, the less they truly live, and the more they indulge in the products of the life others live. Even to the extent one who does directly live sees an output, they will be less able to indulge in it as someone who merely attains the output, at least to a point. Some rare few who truly become emulsified with life can reach higher levels of existence that neither those who live and those who exist will ever be capable of. Others occasionally see this possibility, and most of them mistake it for what it actually is, by merely feigning spiritual or religious belief. Worse still, some merely engage in a particular thing that's associated in some way with the act of emulsion. Life has a very thorough and very uneven sedimentation. We are all some amalgamation of living and existing. The necessities of life cannot be done away with. To obtain a particular outcome, a particular amount of effort and expenditure must be met. Historically, this has been done through hierarchy and slavery. Our modern world of mechanization is no different, however. We've merely negated life to a degree no known others have. Yet, the result is still the same. Some live, some exist, some find themselves as a murky or opaque mixture. Even the emulsified are not exempt, finding themselves needing to negate even more than the others. The negation of life, while still being able to possess the act of living, remains quintessential. While some will be content living a more intrinsic life, or even requiring aspects of such a life in their own existence, most will giddily read about the horrors of this world from a foreign place and time, without a second thought as to where that adulation came from.